Welcome, race fans, here to the Doublemint Cup Series here at M&M's Super Speedway here. This will conclude the round of 12. Only 8 drivers will have the ability to advance, and many of them seem to be in a good situation, but in this case, no one is safe. Nick Gunther has the best case scenario. He has 25 points to the good over 8th place Vince Freeze, who is only 6 points ahead of 9th place PJ Williams. So, for those that may pay attention to the point standings, be aware of your scenario because every point will count in this race. Gabe Williams on the pole with Eric Rodriguez on his outside. Pace car is off. 42 drivers, 51 laps here in this monstrous super speedway. The green flag is out. We're gonna be racing here at M&M's. And on lap 1, you see Gabe Williams with a fantastic start over the rest of the field. Johnny Gardner, though, filing to second. He's a playoff contender looking out, really trying to look into this playoff picture. He is only 15 points out. So Johnny Gardner's going to be on a mission early on, and he's already going to look for the race lead on lap 1 of the advantage of the field, already getting dicey off of turn 4. That is going to be a common characteristic at this very same vicinity, as Johnny Gardner will lead the first lap of the event. Eric Rodriguez making a move for the race lead as well. The outside pole sitter already down to the inside. Scott Rounch wanted to put a block on him, but Eric Rodriguez has the high ground as he goes to the inside. Jack James willing to follow with a couple of playoff contenders under a blanket right behind that 25 car, as Jack James now leads the march to the front, and that number 42 car now weaves to the outside line. Jessica Emery now leading that inside line. So 4 wide action for that second place spot. Tommy Turbo stuck up high with Johnny Gardner. Lamas in the middle, as well as Schwalbenberg stuck in that middle, as well as Jessica Emery's willing to get a bonus point for herself. Off of turn 4, they're gonna go. The field already getting a bit sporadic. Early on here, you see a little bit of a division between the first pack and the second pack, but soon they will merge into one big pack at the end of things if things go in the right direction. But Scott Rouch actually would lead the lap that time around. Jessica Emery wanting to block PJ Williams, but to no avail, as the car number 19 now merging his way forward into the main pack. He's looking for the race lead himself. Zachary Fitzwater getting a shove from Luis Hernandez, but he goes up high, as well as Jack Halleck in that number 16 car, one of the few newbies in the series wanting to make a good storyline, as the Aussie is looking to march his way forward as well. Charles Samper in the inside line with Kev Shear, teammate, right behind, as Jack Halleck's wanting to get a taste of the action off of turn 4. And you see the cars, oh man, bit of contact there. Ian Duddo almost went into the grass there. Contact with him and Dylan Schwallenberg, who's stuck in the middle groove. Dylan Schwallenberg comes into this race only 9 points to the good in that Home Depot Toyota Camry. That 20 car needs to do something as well. So Luis Hernandez, the Limerock winner, in command of the race lead, while everybody else, though, still chaotic near the middle of the pack. It's a bit of a hornet's nest in the middle of the pack here. It's whether you want to march your way to the front or stay in the back to avoid trouble. So a lot of drivers are playing it safe, but a lot of them are getting aggressive here because they want to get themselves a bonus point or basically lead a lap of the event here and to avoid the carnage that is the big one here at M&M Super Speedway. Jeffrey Finguy getting turned off at turn 4, more cars slamming into each other, and a big crash near the back half of the field is going to bring out the first caution. Joey Murphy and James Ellison collected. Jonathan Zorlin's in it, and Nick Gunther, one of our playoff contenders, is also caught up in the accident as well. Caution down the racetrack. Luis Hernandez is going to slow the field down. We're going to have to be aware of some cars having to check up in this pack, because we could see some drivers just hit the brakes a bit later and give themselves more damage, and that itself could play into the picture of the championship run for many drivers in this main pack. But as of right now, looks like everybody's keeping themselves calm for the time being. Nobody has decided to run into each other quite yet. Looks like everybody is willing to check up But the first caution comes out, and already some implications for Nick Gunther in car number 35, the Polyphony Digital Ford Fusion, already off to a rocky start. So looking at the replay, the instant replay, Nick Gunther just kind of washes up the track into the path of Jeffrey Fingai, sending the 14 for a spin, and then a bit of a calamity, or really a domino effect back there, creating a secondary wreck. And you see James Ellison, Angel Navarro, and Will Goss getting swept up in it. Joey Murphy in the Budweiser machine, no place to go. He gets collected in the wreck. So a couple of RCR cars getting swept up in some accidents. Angel Navarro was looking for a quiet run, as well as Jonathan Zorlin. But already their races are going to be off to a awful start. Looks like a lot of drivers have more or less cosmetic damage, but it's a matter of how much of an impact this could play in them maintaining their pace and to try and keep up with the main pack. Looking at the leaderboard, there are no retirees for the race. Luis Hernandez will still remain in command, a very familiar sight for last race, and already a good sign for him in this race. So Luis Hernandez looking for a late season charge, and car number 33, Kev Shearer, finds on the second spot, with Chris Dodd rounding your top 3. Chevy's kind of filing that top 5, and Hernandez will be the one to lead the field down as the green flag waves again. Back up through the gears we go. And Luis Hernandez with a grand start. Kev Shearer, though, let's see which car will file out in line first. So far, single file down the front stretch and into turn 1. So these drivers really just taking it easy for the time being. But Charles Sanford looking to take the initiative and taking a race position. Looking underneath Andre Baranowskis for position. Johnny Garner willing to follow, as well as PJ Williams and a couple of others. Dylan Young and that Hooters machine don't really count him out just yet. If Dylan Young can survive the race, I think a lot of drivers could survive this race, and if they are able to, their shots of making it into the next round are highly likely. So right now, Luis Hernandez in command of the race lead. Chris Dodd now looking for second underneath Kev Shearer. Shearer willing to give him the space off of turn 4. And looks like Johnny Gardner's willing to follow on suit. Actually decides to file to the outside line. PJ Williams goes to the middle. Annie Thomas making a third lane down to the bottom with Charles Sanford. And there you see Betty Johnson also marching her way forward there. The BK Racing cars willing to work together in this main pack. Basically, if you have a good dancing partner, you're going to be able to move your way forward. It's a matter of whether they're going to commit and stay dedicated to you throughout a majority of the event here. But Luis Hernandez, though, leading the way still. Charles Sanford looking to get a run on Chris Dodd for second, but it looks like that's not really going to work out too well. Dodd goes to the inside. And the car number 88 still holding his ground. Charles Sanford looking a bit lower in the track, but Annie Thomas thinks otherwise, and she's going to take that third spot away. But you see the field already still also getting spread out again, very similar to the early run we had in this race before the first caution. JT Bryant kind of leading that secondary pack of cars. Couple of playoff drivers near the back half trying to play it safe. Jessica Emery, who sits a bit above the cut line. Same thing with Cody Lamas. Vince Freeze, one of the few drivers looking into the cut line, as he is literally the 8th seed at the moment. William Duncan, though, also chilling in the back. He's needing to do something if he wants to march his way forward. As Nick Gunther and the others, they haven't really lost touch with this main pack, so it looks like their shot could still be alive if things go in the right direction. But Luis Hernandez has lost the race lead to Chris Dodd and to Charles Sanford. But here comes Zachary Fitzwater, willing to loosen up that 10 car for turn 4. And Zachary Fitzwater getting a shot from Jeremy Jones, Tommy Turbo, Jack James, Rouch, and Matthews, the previous M&M's Super Speedway winner. Kyle Matthews willing to make himself a factor into this race as well. Sanford back to the bottom of the racetrack. You see these drivers just hugging that yellow line in order to keep the grip on that inside groove and to maintain the push they can get off the corner. You can see the outside line just gets a little bit of an advantage, but the inside line just seems to be the dominant line here at this very racetrack, as Jack James now goes to the inside of car number 95 and number 10. The Chevys have been the powerhouse manufacturer this season, and it's kind of a bit of a no-brainer to see them running near the front of the pack. Kyle Matthews launching his way forward again. Crash right behind him. Hard into the wall goes Jessica Emery. Chris Dodd gets swept up in the accident, and they're all crashing right behind him. Vince Freeze hard into the pit wall. He's out of this one. Pat Johnson also swept up in the crash as well. A lot of playoff contenders swept up in the accident early on. And that is going to be huge in the playoff points here today. That was a massive crash off of turn 4. And it took out, looks like Dylan Young was in the wreck. Vince Freeze, Jessica Emery's car went sailing into the outside wall. And Chris Don was another one in the wreck as well. So that is literally, I would say, about 5 contenders swept up in that crash, just like that. And out of the race, I would say goes a lot of them. A lot of cars running into each other under caution. Nick Gunther's actually ran into someone as well. He's got some front-end damage to his race machine, and they're still crashing up there. So it's calamity on lap number 13, lap number 12 of the event. As we're going to have to take a look at the replay here, but for a lot of drivers, this is a nightmare for them. And you see they were just about 5 wide, 6 wide. Off of turn 4, they just all ran out of space. Bill Gunther hooks the right rear of the 44 and into the wall. They're going to go. Jessica Emery sails into the turn 4 wall upside down. Hard impact into the barrier. And Dylan Young, no place to go. Chris Don, Johnny Gardner actually got a piece of the wreckage as well. And then you see everybody just scrambling. Fitzwater, Andre Baranowskis, Pat Johnson. And you see there's Vince Freeze. He just gets a clip it at the end of it. And then watch him hit that pit road barrier. William Duncan almost hit that 31 car. And oh, what a hit to the inside retaining wall. Really to the pit wall. Goes to 31. Not as vicious as Season 1's wreck with Cavagnaro and a couple of others. But just a lot of cars. The big one has struck early on. And a vicious wreck has taken out, I would say, like I said, a lot of playoff contenders that were just looking to play it safe. They ended up getting into the swarm of the carnage here today. And here's the other angle we just got. And watch the 44 just get on 2 wheels and just hard into that outside wall. Dylan Young and Chris Don were sandwiched in that wreck. Johnny Gardner was in it. And so there you see 4 playoff contenders getting taken out just like that. Seth Cole just nowhere to go. And then you notice, you will see Vince Freeze in the picture. You watch the Akuma machine going through the smoke. He's trying to slow down for the carnage. And already you can already know that 4 playoff contenders are already swept up in a wreck and make it 5 once Freeze joins in the picture here. Just a big crash is taking out a lot of drivers, and Pat Johnson running over JT Bryant there, and that 31 car just clipping that number 2 car just barely. And by then, Freeze was just along for the ride. He just lost control after he hit Jessica Emery right there. And that's what killed the car. And then William Duncan, man, he had a close shave right there. And then watch that pit road impact. Basically the same angle. Here we go. This is a little bit of a different one. Hits that barrier. Hits that ending. Really hard contact. And just like that, out of the race. Coming to the restart here, let's look at who is out of the race. Vince Freeze finishes dead last. Young, 41st. Emery, 40th. Don, 39th. Don was outside looking in. He's going to be automatically eliminated, but for the hopes of Emery, Young, and Freeze, they are in danger, because if those drivers above the cutoff line perform like where Jack James is right now, they could be the 3 of them out of the running just like that. BJ Williams and Johnny Gardner are also looking in. Johnny Gardner, though, with damage, so this could be a saving grace for them if Johnny Gardner does not execute. Green flag back in the air. Jack James, great start with the number 42 machine. And Kyle Matthews caught sleeping on that restart. As there you see Scott Roush making a second lane going to the bottom with Jeremy Jones and Charles Samper on suit. Jesse Turner willing to follow car number 10 with Bill Gunther and O'Neal Bollitt with assistance as well. So right now, only 35 cars remain in the race. A big crash of a turn 4 has taken a lot of them out of it. But in terms of where Johnny Gardner is running, he is running in 30th position. So Zachary Fitzwater has blown his car up, so he's out of the race just like that. But Johnny Gardner getting whatever he can. He has 15 points out. He really needs to hope for these guys to wreck more and more if he really wants to get around those drivers ahead of him. So he is currently, actually looks like in 30th. So he might be good, 26. So actually he might be in a good spot right now. Johnny Gardner actually could squeak his way in if things go right for him. So right now, Johnny Gardner's just hoping to gain some more spots. We'll have to look at the points after, but Kyle Matthews, though, on the other hand, is looking for the race lead on Jack James. Jeremy Jones, though, willing to follow car number 24, Jesse Turner, getting a nice shot from O'Neal Baldwin, but O'Neal Baldwin's going to go 3 wide for position. He's looking underneath car number 17. And it looks like Jesse Turner's going to lose the spot. Hernandez back to the inside. Bill Gunther doing the same with Kev Shearer and following as well. So we still have a good amount of cars still remaining in this pack. Jeffrey Fingai, who spun out earlier, has made one heck of a comeback for the time being, running in the 18th position with Jonathan Rains in 19th. So, or really 20th. So make that 20 cars in the pack. Angel Navarro hoping he could catch that 38 car. Hopefully he can join into the fray as well. JT Bryant, Goss, and Duncan in the same boat as well. So those guys are hoping these guys could wreck out more. Fitzwater, his day is most likely done. But Nick Gunther is sitting in the 28th spot. So if I would say if he's running around where he's at, I think he could be set or really clinch a spot in for the time being. But Betty Johnson now looking for the race lead in car number 83 there. Sorry about that, but Scott Roush now going 4 wide. Dylan Schwalmberg looking to make it 5 wide in the corner there, and you can see how close they get together. They're really squeezing each other in the corner. Gabe Williams nearly in the wall, and here comes Jesse Turner really threading the needle down the bottom, making it 4 wide off of turn 2. It's getting really tight near the front of the pack, and Jesse Turner made it stick off the corner. Phenomenal move from the Crown Royal machine. That's Betty Johnson leading the way over Dylan Schwalmberg. Annie Thomas looking to make that second line. Goes to the inside. Jeffrey Fingai, you've seen that Bass Pro Shops machine getting help from PJ Williams. Williams comes into this race only 6 points behind, but he's definitely 6 points to the good. Ahead of his contenders of Freeze, Young, and Emery. So PJ Williams, if he's running where he's at, I would say he's locked in as well. Jack James in a very similar spot as well. I would say these guys, if they don't wreck, they could be into the next round quite easily due to them not wrecking off of turn 4 early on. Dylan Schwalmberg, though, looking for the race lead. He knows he's good to go. He is only 9 points ahead of Vince Freeze, but I think that gap's going to extend with Freeze out of the race, finishing dead last, the worst case scenario for car number 31, as Scott Roush goes to the inside of Tommy Turbo, but to no avail. Turbo holds his ground. Schwalmberg keeps his nose ahead, but the 95 looks a little bit lower, as Scott Roush now looking to make it 3 wide with help from Charles Sanford, Jeremy Jones, as Roush goes to the outside. Charles Sanford going to the inside of those cars underneath him. It's been already a chaotic event at M&M Superspeedway. Nobody's willing to give in the front pack, and they're giving each other plenty of room for the time being. But the race isn't over until it's over, and a lot of drivers that have had damage are hoping to gain some ground due to the sheer amount of attrition this track has had in the past season. Jack James, though, going to the inside. PJ Williams, again, following this 19 car, has been pretty quiet all race long. PJ Williams has been not making too big of a presence, but has executed when the time is right in this playoff race. And so far, so good for car number 19. Car number 42 also looking pretty good. Jack James could be a threat for this championship hunt if he can make it to the next round. PJ Williams hasn't been the most consistent, had a strong regular season, and he could have a strong playoff season if he can make it to the next round as well. So it's really getting tense. They're coming towards lap traffic. Seth Cole will play in the factors of a lot of drivers, and it holds up Dylan. Oh, they're still crashing, and car number 18 hard into the inside wall. O'Neal Baldwin collected, and Tommy Turbo also swept up in the carnage as the caution's gonna fly. And wow, due to lap traffic, that is gonna hurt Tommy Turbo. He's got some damage to his car, and that is going to bring the field back together again, as it's Jack James that leads the field towards the caution flag. And you see everybody was just swarming around Seth Cole, all trying to get around him. Gabe Williams just comes down on O'Neal Baldwin, and poor Tommy Turbo, an innocent bystander, just no place to go. And into the inside wall goes all three of them. And O'Neal Baldwin was looking for a solid run. Tommy Turbo's just trying to keep the car safe, but ends up being a victim of circumstance. And Gabe Williams, the pole sitter, not looking too good as he slides up the track. A lot of damage done for the Gibbs entry, and certainly not the caution they wanted, but for the rest of the field and for drivers that kind of lost that main pack, that is going to be paradise for them, as they might have a shot at getting back at this win. It'll be one to go at the line here, really, once they get to the start-finish line. Jonathan Zorlin has retired the car. Joey Murphy, Nick Gunther had issues in pit lane. He is out of the running. Gunther will finish 30th, but that could be good for him. He might be in a safe spot with the contenders behind him out of the race early on, but Betty Johnson will lead the field down to start lap number 28 of the event, with Jack James right behind him. PJ Williams sits in third, Jeremy Jones fourth, and Kev Shear rounding your top five. Green flag back in the air. Jack James with a great start. PJ Williams as well, as they all try to gang around Seth Cole in that 80 car. Seth Cole with a lot of damage from an earlier incident. Scott Roush weaves to the outside. C. Turner looking to do the same. So far so good. Not many cars getting held up by car number 80, so it looks like they might not be a factor. Johnny Gardner, though, getting the hood replaced. He's got no hood on his car. Car number 47 out of the race. So Andre Baranowski's out of the race early on. William Duncan, I believe, is just trying to survive from now on. So I think at where he's at, he's basically in for the time being. As they get around JT Bryant, who's got damage to his Ford Fusion. The rest of the pack, though, trying to run away. Jeremy Jones now taking the lead away from Jack James and Betty Johnson alike. Kev Shear thinking otherwise, as he's going to look underneath his teammate. For position, Jack Halleck looking to make a third lane on the bottom of the track. Charles Sanford, nobody really to go. It's that 16 car, as Charles Sanford was going to stick behind car number 16. PJ Williams, though, sailing in that 9th spot. Basically, that's where the consistency has been for car number 19, and they're showcasing it here today. So the Camping World car and the Good Sam car looking relatively good on the radar in terms of making it into the round of 8. Dylan Schwallenberg, teammate, has had a quiet effort. We haven't really talked about him that much, but Dylan Schwallenberg also in a great spot with almost half the field out of the race. He is in a comfortable position. Cody Lam is also in the same boat. He was inside the top 8 in points, and right now with the run where he's at, he's in as well. So in terms of our playoff scenarios, William Duncan is currently 22nd in the race, soon to be 21st if he can get around Ian Dutta with ease, as well as William Brock. That could be a top 20 for car number 6, and that could be the run Duncan just needs in order to survive this round. So William Duncan just happy that he has escaped this. Tommy Turbo is 26th right now, so Turbo is looking to see if something good happens. If where he's at, he's 13 points to the good. So where he's at, I would say he's in a comfortable gap. But I would say right now, our cars eliminated are Vince Rees, Young, Dodd, and Emery as of right now. That's what we can assume for the time being. But again, we have to wait for the results to show. Really, Johnny Gardner could be the one eliminated as well, but he is 23rd in this race right now. So if he gets passed by any of those drivers behind, Johnny Gardner could be knocked out of this one potentially as well. But right now, I think Johnny Gardner is got a pretty comfortable gap in terms of where he's ahead. But Gardner's got a lot of ground to do. We're going to have to see where the points file in with about almost 20 laps to go in the race. It's been a bit of a marathon for a lot of these drivers here. Jack James continuing to lead the way with Scott Roush on tow. Dale Gunther, though, looking for the 3rd spot, making it 4 wide. PJ Williams looking to join the party as well. A lot of these drivers are getting a little bit more confident, with a lot of the front runners getting taken out early on, or really a lot of drivers getting taken out early on. I think these drivers are going to be a bit more aggressive since they have a bit less to lose on the racetrack. So Scott Roush now looking for a move underneath Jack James. He's wanting to take a shot at the lead. James puts the block on car number 60, but not really effective, as Scott Roush just had the better run in the corner. Bill Gunther willing to help. You can notice the different grills on the car. They have the option to change the grill on their race car, and Scott Roush having a bit of a different grill. Not much of an aerodynamic advantage, just for the aesthetic appeal on the Ford Fusion. Luis Hernandez, though, now giving assistance to Scott Roush, willing to be his drafting buddy to try and take the lead away from Jack James. James, a win would basically help him quite a lot. They would clinch themselves in, but as of right now, they are already in, based on the scenarios of others' drivers. Basically, the misfortunes have been the benefits for a lot of playoff drivers that were outside looking in. PJ Williams wanted this. Same thing with Jack James. Running in the front, that's what they need to do if they want to keep themselves into the championship picture. But Luis Hernandez now looking for the race lead. Jack Halleck right behind him. Charles Sanford, Turner, Scheer, and Jonathan Rains in car number 38. We haven't talked about Jonathan Rains all race long. He's been relatively quiet as well, keeping his car in one piece. All these drivers have a great shot at shuffling for the lead to and fro, and that's what we're going to expect here at this very racetrack. As Dylan Schwallenberg now looking to make it 3 wide. Couple cars making it 5 wide off the corner. They crash right behind him, and 2 of the Burger King cars are crashing. Jonathan Rains into the pit wall and flipping over. Hard contact into the barrier, and the caution's gonna fly again on the racetrack. Annie Thomas down pit lane. Betty Johnson. 2 of the Burger King racing cars swept up in it. And for these drivers, that is not going to be good for them. PJ Williams has left side damage to his race car. That's not good for them. Johnny Garner, though, good for him, because those are some free spots he's going to get with those drivers crashing. And with Jonathan Rains out of it, that's a free position for Johnny Gardner in this race, as they're going to get themselves gathered around. And it is Scott Roush that leads the field to the caution flag. 5 wide off of turn 4. It's just been the common characteristic we've seen in M&M's, and the Burger King cars end up spinning to the inside wall, really to the infield, and then Jonathan Rains just not able to really save it in time, hits the pit road wall, and then just gets a weird flip. The car just ends up gaining momentum and flips over, and out of the race goes Jonathan Rains just like that. I talked about him earlier, and looks like I might have just jinxed him. And out of the race goes car number 38. And for car number 23 and 82, it looks like they've got a bit of cosmetic damage. More for Betty Johnson. She's got a lot worse than Annie Thomas, so they're going to have to fix that damage to the Cosmo Motors machine. But for them, they're going to be able to keep on going without much of a hassle. 1 to go at the line here. Scott Roush leads over teammate Jack Halleck and teammate Jesse Turner. Roush 1, 2, 3 right now in the event. Richard Johnson has dropped out due to mechanical issues, so another driver bites the dust, and it's Scott Roush that leads over Halleck and Turner as the green flag is out. A Ford 1, 2, 3, and car number 60 trying to get a great launch. Jack Halleck and Turner are willing to commit for now, but Dylan Schwallenberg looking to take the inside. Hernandez doing the same thing. They're already getting aggressive. Luis Hernandez blows up, and the 33 car, the Limerock winner, already getting knocked out, and Kyle Matthews trying to get around him, but to no avail, and that's going to hold up car number 24. And the 33 car now out of the race. So these guys are dropping like flies in this race, and for many of them, there is not much time left, as Jack Halleck wanted to make a move to the inside, but he's got no help from behind. Jesse Turner, it looks like he just kind of stumbled on that start, could not get the stretch, really the backstretch run he wanted, but now he's right behind Jack Halleck. So the Roush Fenway cars, 1, 2, 3 off of turn 4, and got a little bit of a comfortable gap over Kev Scheer and Charles Sanford, the 2 Stewart-Haas cars, making their presence known, as well as Jeremy Jones in car number 4. The Stewart-Haas cars are making their presence on the track as well. Dylan Schwallenberg also in the mix with Jack James, so Ganassi and Gibbs, a lot of the big teams, are up in this main pack here today, as Jack Halleck now looking for the race lead. These newbies are looking to try and get their first career win in the Doublemint Cup Series. Kev Scheer looking for the same as well. Charles Sanford looking for a move around his teammate, but Kev Scheer keeps his ground and keeps his momentum, as Jack James now looking to the inside. He's wanting to take the spot away from Charles Sanford. Dylan Schwallenberg doing the same. And Jeremy Jones, who was strong in trucks, trying to maintain that momentum in Cup despite not making the playoffs. He's looking very strong as well. How about Angel Navarro, though? Great stuff from the 78 car with back-end damage. His car is still really good on the racetrack, And now Jack James looking to make a third line with Chevy Companion. Jeremy Jones on the inside. Jesse Turner, though, looking for the race lead on car number 16. As it looks like James actually puts his nose ahead. And now Jack James looking to take an opportunity to pounce on car number 17. But Jeremy Jones thinking otherwise with teammate Charles Samper right behind. Cody Lamas has put himself into the mix. Lamas has been pretty quiet and under the radar in this race, and right now he's making his presence known as he's marching his way forward, trying to pass about 8 cars in one corner here. That's how advantageous that inside line can get. And just like that, you can rocket your way up towards the top 5 in a heartbeat. And Cody Lamas is demonstrating that right now. Dylan Schwalmer goes to the inside, migrates down to the bottom. But Jeremy Jones now in command with teammate Charles Samper in second, a best case scenario for Stuart Haas Racing, with Ganassi in third with Jack James. A great run. I would say he's locked in for the time being. Cody Lamas, though, getting shuffled up high. Dylan Schwalmer going low. And Scott Roush going lower on the racetrack in car number 60. But Scott Roush is not able to get the momentum off the corner. Schwalmer holds his line, keeps his car ahead of car number 60. And Schwalmer goes to the bottom. Jesse Turner doing the same. He puts the block on Dylan Schwalmer as well. And off of turn 4, Jeremy Jones, though, in clean air, holding his ground, trying to block both lanes of the draft, and to see if he can hold on to this lead with 10 laps to go in the race. This pack has nothing to lose right now. They've got a comfortable distance over PJ Williams. Jeffrey Finga has lost the draft, as well as William Duncan, so I think their cars aren't really up to pace compared to the top 12, I would say, or really the top 11 cars. So these guys right now are basically set for a top 11 finish, 11th at worst, because PJ Williams sits in that 12th position. Charles Samper, though, dropping all the way back. He is a sitting duck. And on the outskirts of the draft right now is Angel Navarro going to the bottom with no back end. That car might be really loose on the racetrack, but Scott Roush now looking for the lead on Jack James. And there you see Jack Halleck. He's going to go to the middle, try and get Jack Halleck's suck up, that number 16 car, trying to get some suck up on his teammate there. And it looks like Jack Halleck's going to be willing to help Scott Roush for the time being, but goes to the inside, peaks low. Jack James puts the block, Scott Roush goes to the bottom, and Jack Halleck follows on suit, so the Roush cars are working together there to try and take the lead back. And Jesse Turner now stuck on the outside line. Dylan Schwalberg has no help behind him. So a couple Toyotas, couple Chevys, and a couple Fords. Only one Toyota, 2 Toyotas in this main pack today. And Jeremy Jones now migrates to the bottom, goes to the bottom, weaves to that inside line. And Scott Roush leads, but Jack Halleck willing to take it away from Scott Roush here. It is every man for himself in this race, as Jeremy Jones now goes to the bottom to make it 3 wide. He's wanting to take the lead back. Jack James, though, looking through the middle. Jesse Turner following with that 42 car, willing to help him out. And Dylan Schwalberg now goes to the inside line, following Jeremy Jones and Jack Halleck. Halleck again looking for the lead. Scott Roush keeping his car afoot, just side drafting that number 16 car. Jeremy Jones following Scott Roush, willing to help him out. But Jack Halleck's got the nose ahead. Scott Roush, though, getting a nice assistance from the Ford team, but in turn 3, Jack Halleck has the advantage over Dylan Schwalmer's Charles Samper, making it 3 wide with help from affiliate Cody Lamas. In the Ally Bank machine, Cody Lamas now looking for third, looking for second on Scott Roush. Jack Halleck now trying to put the block on car number 60. He does put the block on car number 60, but now Roush does a crossover move to the inside of Jack Halleck. A little bit of a mistake there from car 16, as Scott Roush is looking to take advantage and to pounce on the race lead again. These drivers are just shuffling to and fro for position number 1. Scott Roush, though, has been the man in the second half. Jack Halleck is in second. He doesn't want to play second fiddle to his teammate, while Charles Sanford and everybody else, as they come towards lap traffic, Scott Roush having to weave to the left, as well as Jack Halleck, and that allows Charles Sanford to take the race lead, as Scott Roush has to go to the bottom. Dylan Schwalberg as well. Jeremy Jones and Jack James are getting held up, and their shot could be over, but still, more lap cars playing into the picture for a lot of these drivers. James Ellison holding up Dylan Schwalberg. His shot might be over, as well as Jesse Turner, so for them, they could be out of this one. But now it is between Cody Lamas and Charles Sanford. They're battling it out for the race lead, fending for themselves. Scott Roush, though, Halleck, and Shear, they're hoping they could catch him, and right now they have caught them. 6 laps to go here at M&M Superspeedway. A lot of non-playoff contenders willing to spoil the party as always. Scott Roush now back to second, now looking for the race lead. Here comes Jack Halleck right behind him. The Roush cars have just been great in this package, and Scott Roush now to the race lead, but that could be short-lived because Jack Halleck is right next to him. Kev Shear also in the picture as well. Don't count out car number 41. Shear now goes to the outside. Lamas now to the inside. Roush keeping his ground a foot, and he is still holding on to the race lead. Jack Halleck, though, in that runner-up spot. Lamas in third. Roush's car has just been better in clean air, and Jack Halleck has been a great follower, but his car could lead this race too if he can make a move to the inside. Jack James actually weaved to the right to try and get around Jeremy Jones to see if he can get a slingshot maneuver around him, but to no avail. Cars are now single file. Jack Halleck, though, looking to see if he can find a lane lower than Scott Roush, and there it is. He's looking right underneath car number 60. Side by side, down the front stretch, yet again, Jack Halleck, hungry for his first win, Scott Roush as well, but Roush just has the run on the stretch with help from Cody Lamas, and Roush has just been the car that's been up front, coincidentally, that nobody's really been able to challenge. But Jack Halleck back to the inside. Kev Shear looking lower in the track. They come towards lap traffic. Johnny Gardner could play in the keeps, and that's going to hold up Scott Roush quite a lot, but not enough to make him lose the draft. Jesse Turner and others are going to love what they're seeing because they're going to have an opportunity to catch Cody Lamas into the picture and to potentially pass him. So it's still anybody's game, but Jack Halleck now up front with Kev Shear in second, teammate Charles Sanford in third. Stewart Haas Racing looking for another win this season. Charles Sanford made it to the playoffs with Jeffrey Fingai, with 3 of their cars actually in the top 5, so they all have a great shot at winning this race. Scott Roush, though, files back to the 6th position, and now looking underneath for 5th, so there's only 3 laps to go for these drivers here, and now for the race lead, Kev Shear getting help from his teammates of Sanford and Jones, but Jones is going to follow his teammate. Sanford decides not to, and that allows Scott Roush to come in and close the gap again. Now looking to make it 4 wide, he's getting aggressive, he's looking for second underneath, and even for the race lead. Jeremy Jones, though, blocks Scott Roush, shuts the door on car number 60, and off of turn number 4, Jeremy Jones with the advantage. Scott Roush, though, as they come up towards Tommy Turbo, Kev Shear's going to be the one to get held up, Roush as well, and now it is 2 laps to go in the event. Jeremy Jones now with a comfortable gap over Scott Roush and Charles Sanford. Jack James, though, in 4th. With that number 16 car of Jack Halleck running inside the top 5. So now, they've all got to team up together to get around Jeremy Jones, or really to catch Jeremy Jones if they want to have a shot of winning this race. Scott Roush has made his start quite late in the Doublemint Cup Series, but he has made quite a presence so far this year. You can just see the amount of momentum Scott Roush has as they come off of turn 4. The white flag is going to fly for Jeremy Jones. 1 more lap to go, but Scott Roush is right there. Scott Roush now making a move to the inside. He's got a lot of help from Jack James and car number 16 of Jack Halleck. Inside goes Scott Roush. He's going to take the spot quite easily. And here comes Jack Halleck looking to make it a Roush Fenway 1-2. As here they come off of turn 2 towards lap traffic. What will Scott Roush do? Will he go to the left, or will Jack James steal the party? Here comes Scott Roush around lap traffic. Quite an easy pass. Not much of a hindrance there, but here comes Jack James right there. He has closed in the gap on Scott Roush. Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. James looking to make a nose underneath. Side by side off of turn 4. And down the front stretch they go for the final time. A side by side battle across the line. And it's Scott Roush that's going to win it here at M&M Superspeedway. Sensational effort for car number 60. And a well-deserved victory for Scott Roush. What a job there. Jack James will end up second. Halleck with a third-place run. How about that for Roush Fenway Racing? Charles Sanford will end up with a fourth spot. Cody Lamas fifth. I would say James and Lamas, we know, are going to be locked in. Dylan Schwalmberg is going to be locked in as well. He gets a ninth-place spot. How about Angel Navarro? Top 10 with damage early on. He ends up getting a top 10 out of all of it. PJ Williams, I would say he's in a good position. Duncan's locked in, definitely. Let's see who else. But we're going to have to see here. Only 24 cars remained in the race. Scott Roush, though, ends up being a Doublemint Cup Series winner for the first time in his career. A strong showing at Indy in his debut. And it's really justified the case here that Roush Fenway could be back and better than ever for car number 60. You see the results first through 28th, and now we move on to the rest of the pack. The points are going to be tight coming in. You're going to have a glance to see who will make it into the next round because it is going to be a close one. But congratulations to Scott Roush on winning here at M&M Superspeedway.